Buddy.
Hello, are you good?
Yeah, I lost track of time.
I'm 90% sure everyone can hear us right now.
Sweet.
Give me 1 sec.
I lost my hat.
If you guys can see us or hear us, press a cool emoji in the chat.
Also, make sure to like. And
now I gotta edit the audio version. These goofballs. Look at Rick Davis. Your mics are live. We know. Thank you. All right. Greetings, welcome one and all to episode 229 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, May 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost, joined by my co-host, the Intrepid, Captain Logan. Today, we are chatting about the Xbox Showcase and our predictions for it. That may indeed include Call of Duty, Gears, and a new Doom. Hellblade 2 has launched this week, and we've got new content across nearly all the Xbox titles in the platform. Good Lord, it's been a week. We hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I am good. I've been very distracted this week, so I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball on every single thing that I entertained to do. Today, totally distracted. Didn't even realize what time it was. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're about to record a podcast. You should have DM'd me.
He showed up. I was here. I was waiting. Then I had to go live. And then he forgot to press the banner button. It's like this guy's had a lot going on in his personal life. He showed up, guys. When I saw our splash screen, he had no hat on. I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I was like, do I tell him? He doesn't have his hat on.
No.
I don't like change. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it is good to see you, buddy. It really is good to see you. I know you've had a week. It has been a great week in gaming. A lot of stuff to talk about, which I'm excited for sure. And we've got a great chat already showing up. We already got people hanging out. Rick Davis in the house, Silent Cypher, GoldenEye, X Bacon Gaming, Nisa Hauer, Silken It. Oh, and I don't know if I said it. Silent Cypher also. I'll make sure I got that.
Yeah, I think you did.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Good. Making sure. Yeah, because the numbers are moving around on my side. It's good to see everybody. I hope you're having a great week. Logan, I got to tell you, man, I'm going to start with words of kindness on my front.
Good.
I've had a great week in games because the Hellblade 2 review dropped. A number of people checked out my work on that one. Guys, I put everything into that review. I played through the game twice. We were fortunate to get a code early. I worked on my capture. I used a little bit of Ains's capture, but most of it was my own. I really worked on the editing, and I had so many people just say nice things about it. We ended the school year, which crazy. I ended 14 years with students. So that was a sad and emotional Friday, but it was really exciting because I had moved up with these kids. So like having them for multiple years, and some of them watched the review and gave me kind words, which was really cool. And then this
Isn't that
past
a mature
week,
rated game?
yeah, whatever. Yeah, I know what their parents tell them. I'm not worried about it. The best part was like in this week where I was just swamped, right? Kevin Ainsworth, Silkenet, Clint Coombs, Rick Davis, they came together and they did a spoiler cast as a community episode just because they love the game for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a PlayStation game, which is a testament to our community enjoying multiple platforms and not being console biases. And they just had a blast. Alex from Season Gaming joined them, and it was just cool. They had fun. They were enjoying themselves, and that got to go up on the channel too. And so it was really cool to just watch the XEP community just support each other, and I loved it. It made me really happy.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to see like community members using our kind of like home as a way to kind of bring together other people and start making content for it. It's really awesome to see that kind of flourish where normally you wouldn't, like in most cases when you see like a Twitch streamer or something like that, it's usually like everyone's coming to see the Twitch streamer and they'll make content around that. But to make content for each other and like to open it up to each other, it's really awesome to see just people coming together to talk about a game that isn't even on Xbox at the moment and just kind of share that passion about gaming in general. It's just really awesome to kind of have that kind of experience and see what can be done when you just give people opportunities where they can go from there.
Yeah, it was really neat, uplifting, heartwarming, fun. And it just reminded me how great our community is. And this is a bit preachy, so forgive me, how cool it is. Like when you just celebrate games and you don't start at the console wars and stuff, they're just loving it and supporting it. That was cool.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, I love it too. It's really cool.
How about you, man? What's you been good words this week?
Gosh, here's the thing. I have been really distracted with just life. So I really have not even engaged in like the gaming community. Like I've been playing a little bit of games here and there, but I guess if I had to shout out anyone, I'd probably shout out my buddy Caleb, who has been one of the few people who has like reached out to me this week and just he's like one of those commendation or like achievement hunters through Steam. And he keeps hitting me up, even though I'll say no, or I can't, or something like that. He will consistently come back and relentlessly ask if I want to do something and check in and see like, hey, everything's going. You need to talk about anything. You need to like reach out and say something. Let me know. We'll jump on a ship. We'll go sailing around. I got some stuff I'll work on. You can get out whatever you need to, blah, 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 blah. So shout out to him.
There you go.
Because he has been helping out alongside you guys. You guys have been there for me during COD nights and stuff, like letting me get everything off my chest and how I'm feeling and whatnot. So I'm getting to a better place. And I just want to thank you and Caleb and my friends in general for being that really helpful friend therapy session that I need during all this. So it's really cool to feel like I'm getting back to normal. I'm actually happy I'm doing stuff and having fun. I've got stuff planned this weekend that I'm going to be going out and I'm excited for it. So I'm on the mend and I'm glad to have friends like you guys to be able to fall back on to really kind of enjoy this stuff. So I have not gotten to engage in all the gaming news. So I'm actually coming from this in a perspective that I'm really excited to have us like talk about some stuff because I feel like I need to get caught up on things. So, but yeah, it's been good.
Split End in the house. I'm glad you're doing well, buddy. Split End 89 in the house, dropping some double downs into the chat. I love that. I love that there. My favorite part is that we've not seen a single pizza. No Little Caesars references because I saw the slander that the nerd chat was trying to throw out there. Really, it's just Daddy Diwali. It's just ridiculous. Like, come on, man.
Really bad taste. Everyone has. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum.
I will.
When you yuck something that's already a yuck, I feel like it's just justified in that case, and Caesars is a yuck.
Absolutely. You're getting some love in the chat. I love to see it. Nisa Hauer asking if we'd seen about the lawsuit against COD. No, if you would send me a DM or a Discord message with a link, I would love to check that one out for sure. For sure. Logan, to start off this week, I thought we would talk about Hellblade, given that it's one of the Xbox's big releases. A lot of things happening on the front of what Hellblade is, what it represents to the Xbox community. I think a lot of people were
There's a
really,
lot.
yeah, they were looking for it to be something that it wasn't. Some were very much just excited to play the game and see what it was that Ninja Theory had been cooking all these years. I remind everybody that it was Hellblade 2 that we saw the Xbox Series X for the first time, with that incredible moment at the Game Awards where we saw Senua's face and it zoomed in and Hai Long kicked in with In Maijan, which was the name of the song. And we saw some incredible, just cinematic approach to it. And having played the game twice and reviewing it, and I'm actually going to drop a link to the review in the chat. I know most of you have already seen it, but for anybody watching that maybe he's catching the VOD, I'd love for you to go, pause this and check it out and go watch that review. I think you will find that Hellblade 2 delivered for a lot of people. And there were some, and I would say it's a minority, but maybe I'm wrong, that were not necessarily as high on Hellblade 2. Now, it's interesting to look at the review breakdown. I'm going to read this to you.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of dissect a little bit of it and compare it to my experiences as well.
Good.
Eurogamer 5 out of 5, Game Rant 4 out of 5, VGC 24/7 3 out of 5, Gamer 3 out of 5. So you're kind of already running the gauntlet there. Shack News, Press Start, Video Gamer, Game Informer all gave it 9s. IGN gave it an 8. Forbes, Pure Xbox, Game Blog all gave it 7s. GameSpot and Well Played gave it 6s. Metro Game Central a 5, and then interestingly PC Gamer a 58 out of 100. Currently, I checked this morning, the Metacritic and OpenCritic are sitting synonymously at 81, which overall is quite favorable. Some of the user scores I've seen over the last 2 days have gone in and around with kind of a variance of a +5 or -5 differential there. But around an 81, which for all intents and purposes to me is a great win. I think it's a great game. I know that everyone's chasing that 9 or above, but 81 cannot be sniffed at or scoffed at in any way, shape, or form. I have my own thoughts on this one, but Logan, you have not played Hellblade 1 or 2 with any extensive levels, correct?
Nope. Yeah. So I'm really interested in this. I do want to go and actually try out Hellblade when mentally I can get into games that are beyond just like spending time therapy with friends kind of thing. Because I'm genuinely curious, and when this was actually one of my questions, when we look back and we look at the Xbox Series X reveal and we saw that trailer for Hellblade 2, compared to your experience with the review itself, do you feel like they were honest in their presentation of Hellblade 2 back in 2020? Or I guess it would have been 2019, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was 2019 that we first saw it. Do I feel like that cinematic trailer was honest?
Yeah, like do you feel like they talked about this being all in game engine? Do you feel like the fidelity that everyone was skeptical on rings true in the final version?
100% yes, and that's not something we get to say very often in gaming, and I really mean that. Like a lot of times you will see how does one say it? I don't want to say biased coverage, but like enthusiast coverage will often be like, they did everything they said, and then anti-enthusiasts will be like, they lied about it all. The reality is, I think this game is very much everything Hellblade and Ninja Theory have set a precedent for with Senua's Sacrifice, the first game, and their marketing. It matches everything. The experience is everything. It's in-engine. It is probably the best looking game I've ever seen. And that's a high bar because Hogwarts was pretty incredible.
Yeah, you're really good. You're really into Anthem and Avengers, and you like that monster game right now. Your fidelity bar is pretty high.
I appreciate you yucking my yum.
I'm not yucking your yum. I'm calling out how much you love your fidelity in game.
I gotta say, the game is stunning and beautiful, and the photo mode can be taken advantage of in just an incredible way. To
Yeah.
me, this is very much everything Ninja Theory said it would be. I think the frustration for many comes from what they perhaps wanted it to be. And I will say full bear, I wanted this to be a God of War. I still want Ninja Theory in this world, not with Senua herself, but in this world to make a God of War style game. I want that because to me, Hellblade has that potential. And there are moments in there where I'm just like, yes. But everything that this game sets out to be, I think it very much accomplishes. I've listened to many reviews across our friends' reviews. Kevin Ainsworth did a good review. Some of the bigger reviews, IGN, GameSpot, etc. And I genuinely think some of them are approaching correctly and some are incorrectly, and that's the point of reviews in general. But I feel like Ninja Theory set a precedent with the first game, marketed it to what it's going to be, and very much is what Hellblade was meant to be. Whether I want it to be more or not isn't necessarily the case. It's kind of like when people were saying, Luke, you can't expect Suicide Squad to be Arkham. You're right. I want it to be, but it's not. And so, there's something to that, but the game stands to me as just some masterpiece, as a masterpiece for what it sets out to do. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's cool. I'm really glad. I from everything I've heard from you talking about it, it sounds like that we were never oversold on Hellblade, and that it's met the expectations of what they've told us, that everyone that is not kind of looking for something else has really just addressed like what they thought they were getting, and actually expressed similarities to what you're talking about. It's been interesting that there's been this narrative going on online that people are trying to create, where there's like comparisons from Hellblade 1 to Hellblade 2, and that it being a not multi-platform game factors into that. Because it seems like, from what I can tell, the game is doing about what you'd hope for a sequel, as good, if not better, than the original. Especially given that it's brand new game, brand new story. They have to really try and ensure that they take the story in a direction where it's going to still be as interesting as the first game when you first experienced it. It was something that I think a lot of people had trouble with like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, is how do you tell a Zelda story in Breath of the Wild and try to recapture some of that lightning in a bottle that was the exploration and joy of exploration and discovery in Breath of the Wild, in a game where you've already been there. And I think that with Hellblade being where it is in just in kind of like in the meta score, this really does kind of show like it's not a 9 out of 9 or a 10 or a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, but it is a competent sequel. And I'm very curious to check it out, see how it plays, see what it's like, see where the story goes, get to understand that world a little bit better, and see if I can fall in love with Senua's story and what happens to her, and see if there is a Hellblade 3 in the future for Ninja Theory, because it seems like they know what they're doing. It seems like they're competent and confident in their content and creating those experiences, and seeing like where they can go from there with this story. Or maybe they pick up a different IP altogether and put Hellblade kind of on the side for a while, because they have an idea that really excites them. Because it seems like whatever excites them is the thing that we'll get, that will actually be like a very well proven title.
So I want to give listeners and viewers a timeline here for me. I played Hellblade 1, I'm sorry, Senua's Sacrifice, when it first came to Xbox. It was 2017 that the game came out. I want to say it came to Xbox in 2019, but it doesn't matter. I played it then. And then we got the review codes early-ish last week, played through the game twice, back to back, like finished it, restarted it, so that I could just, there's some perks you get for replaying it, and I won't spoil anything for anybody. But after finishing it twice, doing the review, then on Tuesday I did a like a Let's Talk, which I've been doing every Tuesday at 5 p.m. EST. I've been doing just kind of a Let's Talk the last few weeks, just trying it out, seeing if I like that format, where I just talk to the chat. They don't have to have a super chat to talk or say anything. It's just talking, right? After that, I went back to Hellblade 1 and played through Hellblade 1. I finished it up the other night. And I got to tell you, everything Hellblade 2 is better than Hellblade 1. There is nothing in Hellblade 1 that is better than Hellblade 2. The speed of combat is faster, which some people might like more, but the quality and the intensity and the way that it approaches it, to me, 2 just outshines it in every way. And the nice thing is, you don't need to play Hellblade 1 to enjoy 2. They're some same characters, some not, but completely on their own standalone stories, which is great. And so I really have enjoyed watching kind of the conversation around Hellblade as a franchise, what it is, because 81 Metacritic is pretty darn great. It matches or surpasses its previous entry, and I don't feel like they ever overstepped and overpromised what the game was going to be. I think some people might be putting words in their mouths, as it were. And I think sometimes the exclusivity of things will really confuse the narrative just a bit. I truly love this game, and I recommend it to everybody. If you have a good headset, definitely go listen up, put on a good headset, and have a good go. I was listening on, just for relevance and for clarity, SteelSeries Arctis 9s, maybe 7Xs, 9s or 7Xs, but both are very high quality headsets. Great SteelSeries stuff. And so I really I love this game, and I can't say enough about what Ninja Theory's done. And I will say also, with the news from Jez Corden that Ninja Theory is working on a new project that's not Project Mara, that's not Hellblade 3, I really love seeing that kind of as a thing that's going on, because Ninja Theory to me is the studio with the most potential, and I really like that. Rick Davis dropping or showcasing that he's been a member for a month, saying Jazz reporting the new Doom Dark Ages is multi-platform. I've heard the same. We're actually going to come back to that thought. Your comment is star. We're going to come back to that thought as well, Rick. So thank you, 1, for being a member for a month. We really appreciate that. Thank you. And 2, Doom is on our docket to talk about for sure. So excited for what Doom brings. But to go back to Hellblade, I recommend this game to everybody. Game Pass is the perfect method of delivery for this kind of game, because if it is what you want, you're going to have a blast. And if it's not what you want, there's no love lost, and you'll still have a really cool experience to try out. Logan, it's not a horror game, but it will have a lot of anxiety-inducing moments by design. And I tried to put some of those claustrophobic, horror-esque moments in my review that were not spoilery, just so people could understand the tone they're in. Yeah,
for me, it's always, I'm not too worried going into it, because I think that there's a difference between a horror game compared to what this is, which is intended to be a story where you resonate with the character, and they're intending you to try and deal with some of the issues and stuff like that. And because it's a single player game where I can hit pause, it's always a lot easier for me to be able to, in the moment, stop, ground myself, and then come back to it. And usually with horror games, when you come back to it, nothing really ends. You're still getting chased by something. And in this case, I feel like at least from what I've seen in reviews, that this is going to be a situation where I'll be able to kind of like understand what's going on, and I'm not too worried about it. But we'll have to see. I'll have to report back and let y'all know if it was too much or not.
When you see a game like this at 30 frames, visually impressive, Metacritic's around the 80s. You had Starfield, Forza Motorsport last year. This seems to me to kind of be on par with what we're expecting, though in my mind, it's a step above. But score-wise, it seems to be kind of landing where I've come to expect Xbox games to land. Were you surprised by the review range in any way, having not played it?
There were a few that I felt were exceptionally low without real justification in the review. it was kind of odd. Like and this kind of harkens back a little bit to the narrative that I think people are trying to draw, where there were some reviews where I just don't understand how a game like this, given the people that did review it and the opinions that I have of them, compared to the reviews and the scores that I've seen at other outlets, where it was significantly lower than other people. And it makes me question, what were you expecting when you were playing this game? Because it seemed like what was expected was supposed to be so much more, or that there was something that was maybe guiding the score a little bit before you actually get into the game. So I was hoping that this would actually be falling into the 9 category as far as like 9 out of 10 score. It not hitting that, it does kind of make me wonder, like a lot of people were kind of questioning what was going to happen if Ninja Theory couldn't pull out a big win for Xbox. It doesn't seem like that's really impacting it right now. And again, that kind of goes back to the difference in budgets between different studios and ZeniMax and stuff like that. But overall, I was kind of surprised that it didn't get higher, given that this is a sequel. They have more experience, fewer hardware platforms to cater to. Seemed like there was an opportunity for them to be able to do that. And it makes me wonder, when you're grabbing like the Metascore for all these different outlets and stuff like that, if maybe the Metascore should be based on something where you take like the bottom and top 10% of review scores and pull them out to find a better median, because it seems like one really low score can drag the average down a lot in this case. And it seems like that had been taken out, would have ranked a lot higher in the overall.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So I want to address Rick Davis's question in here. He says, did you check out Mr. Matty Plays review? He doesn't score, but he doesn't much care for it at all after loving the first. I thought he explained his thoughts extremely well. I did catch a bit of Matty's review, and I do not agree with Matty at all. I think Matty is his experience is not matching mine at all in any way, shape, or form. Again, I don't subscribe to the idea that this game is in any way, shape, or form worse than the first. If anything, like I objectively combat that idea. I think those that are ranking this anywhere below a 7 are truly kidding themselves. And it makes me question whether or not there's a narrative to push. Similarly, while I might think it's a masterpiece, I don't think anybody that can say, hey, this is perfection, is being honest either, because sure, there are some things here and there. But I was surprised when I saw anybody give it below an 8. And then I was genuinely taken aback and questioned the validity of any score that kind of dropped below the equivalent of a 7, because it just doesn't strike me as anywhere in that quality range at all. And so that's kind of the nature of reviews sometimes, particularly with enthusiast press and with discussions of what media bias is or isn't. And I do not subscribe to a full-on element of Xbox tax. And I do get nervous when I see IGN gobbling up outlets, and now we're all kind of under similar umbrellas. But that said, opinions are opinions. Yeah, go ahead, bring that one up. That's a good one to put up there.
Rick Davis says, I mean, it's opinions, LOL. And I wanted to bring this up because I want to agree, it is opinions, but these aren't just like opinions that you have based on nothing. They should be opinions that are based on like values that you can speak to, things that you can call out in a review. Like I'm reviewing and I'm finishing up the review for Wizardry from Digital Eclipse. I have a hard time doing this review because it's not the type of game that I have, but I'm like trying to address the fact that I want to speak to fans of RPG games and non-fans of RPG games. And I have to be able to, speak to my experience, but also how they did as a game. And I honestly think that if you're going to have an opinion, that opinion should be based, 1, in reality, but 2, should be able to address different issues: graphics, sound, design, narrative. Things that people go to reviews to hear, like, does it run well? Does it look good? Does it play well? Is it interesting? Did they step outside the box of what was expected? Is it, laden with issues? These are all things that I think you need to be able to address in a review. Mm-hmm. And unless a game is genuinely just like not running well, it's very boring. It's not that, there's tons of issues. Like Cyberpunk had a lot of issues on last gen hardware, and rightfully deserved to be poked at for it. And having newer hardware, having lots of patches, coming out with a new DLC, it has stepped up to the level of what CD Projekt Red can do. But to say, like, to give it a bad score, I think you need to be able to really, really justify that bad score. Just like I expect anyone that gives it a 10 out of 10, I expect them to really be able to justify that score. So yes, I do agree. It is opinions, but those opinions need to be founded in reality.
Mm-hmm. Certainly so. I want to note Split End pointing out that Gene Park, who's a well-respected journalist for Washington Post, gave it a 65 and gave Halo Infinite a 90 out of 90 or 90/95. So in his mind, not an Xbox tax thing. I'm not subscribing to the Xbox tax mentality. Split End, if it came off like that, it's not a thing I think is real. I think there's questionable elements of any media bias, but media bias isn't inherent when you have opinions being thrown about. That's normal. I don't think people are like, Xbox, take down 5 points. I don't think that's a thing.
There is a narrative that is trying to be spun that is what's happening, but that is just on socials.
Correct. And that's not my particular take either. Silkenet pointing out about Stephen Totillo, who I'm a big fan of. I email him a lot and he doesn't answer because I bother him, I think. But I really like his work, so I tell him a lot. Stephen Totillo went on this really cool journey and almost journaled it in GameFile, which I'll recommend people check out. And if you do check it out, please tell him I sent you. I like that idea of going through the journey, because I do not like I'm going to compare to Ainsley Bowden, right? Ainsley and I do not agree on what makes a good review at all. We actively talk about this on Cast Co-op. We talk about it in DMs. We do not agree about it. But what we do both agree in is that you should be thoughtful, intellectual, and be able to back up and support your reasoning, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a key to any good review. I played through Hellblade 2 twice for perspective to really gather my thoughts on it. I did not play through Starfield after New Game Plus because I thought I had those same things in the bag at the same time. So it really does come down to know who it is that's talking about your games. Don't go after somebody if anyone watches my review and doesn't know me, my tastes, my ideas, and they lose their mind going after me, then you're not a good audience member. If anybody watches Gene Park's review and doesn't understand who Gene Park's ideas are, and you lose your mind and go after them, that's wrong. Saying, hey, I actively disagree with you, here's why, that's not losing your mind. I'm talking about these crazies that showed up in my timeline because it's like, Xbox fails again, or PlayStation dead. And it's like, what? Like, I played Hellblade. I didn't kill PlayStation, and I didn't sign Xbox's death warrant either. I played Hellblade. Relax.
Yeah. Don't fun reminder to not feed the trolls, because they're out there and they're engagement farming for sure.
Yeah. Agreed. I do think it appropriate to go ahead and say, play the game for yourself before you form an opinion. That's important to do. And two, if you are a patron of this fine show and you support us, Logan's going to read your name and we're going to thank you for doing so.
Yeah. As always, if you guys have the ability, we always appreciate the support. You can always head over to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass to show that support. Because everything that you give us goes towards the podcast. It's always going to help kind of give us ways to get Luke to LA so that he can go to Xbox Fest and start rubbing elbows with higher ups and ask Aaron Greenberg why he's always the type to kind of, make sure that everything he says feels like a good media burst. I'll go with that. We always appreciate this, and we always like to call out the tier 2 and 3 shout outs on the show so that way everyone knows that we love them, and we do genuinely appreciate your consideration when it comes to this. So thank you to Chris 1H1D, Nicholas Johnson, Ellery Woods Parker III, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Xbox Skittle, Randall Thor 19, Silkenit, African aka Charles Jones, Game Positive, Jampack Sam, Matt Valdez, Neo Prime 33, Rick Davis, Red Beast, Xbox Mike 29, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, good luck to you, buddy, Brendan Myers, aka the Winter Gamer, Sony's VP of Marketing Kevin Butler, Clint Coombs, DJ Hero, and Dano12. Thank you all so much for your support over on Patreon. It means the world to us. It's very kind of you to do so.
It really does indeed. And I will say we got a new patron this week, Silly Mikey. Thank you so much for subscribing over on Patreon.
Nice.
Really appreciate you guys. I know some of you have switched from YouTube to Patreon, so you can use the different emojis and stuff wherever you are. If you're supporting, I see it. It helps me tremendously. It pays for a ride in LA. It gets me a meal. It gets me software tech. It helps me make cap cuts, all that stuff.
Toilet paper, the pens.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So Hellblade 2 conversations in the bag. It's time for Xbox Showcase predictions, Logan. We are pretty darn close. I think a lot of people don't realize how close we are. 2 weeks and a day from now, we're going to be seeing the Xbox Showcase. I'm really excited for it. I thought it appropriate to go ahead and have a prediction show now because I would fully expect over the next week or so leaks and rumors to both run rampant. And that is a little bit disheartening in some ways, interesting in others. I think you and I have kind of an unspoken, sometimes spoken agreement that rumors aren't really our thing. Leaks, if they're news relevant, we will talk about because it's news. We won't ignore news. That's not a stance we take. But we don't go down the rabbit hole of I heard because this guy had something. And that's kind of the case. I do anticipate us on next week's episode talking a bit about Summer Game Fest expectations and possible PlayStation Showcase responses if there's any multi-platform announcements and things like that in the next week. So we'll see how that goes. But I thought it good and prudent to have our Xbox conversation now. A couple content creators might stop in. We're not sure, but we will see. I got a few people that are trying to make it just in our time window. Logan, this showcase is set to be, I think, one of the best. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
Wow. Okay.
I mean that wholeheartedly. When I look at the games that Luke Lohr enjoys, when I look at the stuff that I like, and then I see that on the docket, we have Call of Duty. When I see on the docket, we have a very strong likelihood of finding out what's next for Gears of War, what's next for Doom, what's next for a number of other just Xbox relevant and adjacent Activision Blizzard titles. I'm here for it. And I am so excited, more excited, I think, than I've ever been for an Xbox showcase. And I mean that, like, not because I'm going there or anything else. I mean it because I love COD. I love Gears. I love Doom. Those are my games.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Ready for it.
I'm super excited for this. I like you. We've got the list kind of like on what we could potentially see. And dude, there's like, I feel like I'm finally like last year, everyone's like, oh my God, Baldur's Gate. Oh, yay, bear. Oh, I get to do the bear. This year, I'm like, bro, let's get the shooters. Let's get those action adventure games out. Like, I want these games. I really want these games to come out. So I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to it. I wish that I mentally was in a less stressed point because the like when we were talking like like 2 months ago, we were talking about it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be really good. We were really good. We were talking about like, oh, should we go out? Like, yeah, we should try and go out. Things like that. We were trying to set up plans,
Mhm.
and then everything else happened. And I'm just like, now I'm trying to get back into this mental state where I'm like, yo, there's gonna be some really good games. I really want to see like what's gonna happen with them. So I'm excited to see what's going on with some of these titles, just because we haven't heard much from them from since last year,
Mhm.
and I want to know like when are we going to actually start to see some of these projects that they've announced years and years ago actually come into like fruition.
I'm going to ask the chat to please put your predictions in chat. Logan, you and I are going to star them, and we'll kind of bring them up as we go,
Mm.
and we will read out your predictions as we go.
Yeah.
My buddy Kev, hometown hero, really excited for Fable. I know that's a long-standing, long-desired Xbox franchise that people are just really ready to have show up once again. I
Mhm.
will tell you that I was so painfully underwhelmed by Fable's showcase piece. I think it was
Oh,
last year. I thought that looked so boring and so uninteresting.
so weird.
And so the reason I want
Oh
to
my
see it is
god.
I want to know what the gameplay looked like, because they said time and again that was gameplay, but I didn't know where it started and stopped. And I wonder
Yeah.
if, after having played Hellblade, you don't know where the gameplay starts and stops unless you're experiencing it. If that's just happens to be what was going on, or
Mm.
maybe there's just no HUD similar to Hellblade. Um,
Mm.
I want to know what it means to play Fable. Show me what it looks like. I'm sure I kick a chicken, but I want to see that in action. And so, to Kevin's point here, Fable. What is Fable? That's something I want to know from this showcase.
I'm really curious about Fable from the standpoint of when the original Xbox came out and we got Fable. I remember I was working, it was like 2002, and I was working at GameStop as an assistant manager, and we were getting like promo for announcements for games and stuff like that. And Fable was coming out, and someone said that you get to be either good or evil, but your decisions in the game are what push you to that. And I was really curious by that concept, and I really wanted to like understand like what that was.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that we kind of go back to, you know, telling that story of who you are as a hero or a villain, and having the opportunity to create your character through actions and experience the world how you want to go through an experience. And we've had tons and tons of games that have been able to do stuff like that. So just look at the Mass Effect trilogy
Mm-hmm.
as a good opportunity there. But I really want to like understand, what is the story that they're looking to tell, or what is the world that they're trying to create to then inform your character what your story is going to be. Something that I think a lot of the people who used to work at Lionhead, who are now over at Rare, wanted to do with Sea of Thieves, where they wanted to create Sea of Thieves that gave you a pirate game that let you tell your story as a pirate. And I think that DNA runs deep with the Fable franchise, and I think that this is going to be a really interesting opportunity to see what a new studio decides to do with Fable, given the lineage that it has.
Okay, I like that thought process. Because Fable has never spoken to me, but the way you pitch that, it does speak to me in a way that I wasn't necessarily kind of there for. Shout out to
Yeah.
Asa Games and Ashes to Ashes for joining in. Also, Split End,
Hey.
hometown hero, myself are also GameStop alums. We are also assistant manager and manager alums. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are in this space because we wanted to be a part of games, and that
Yeah.
was a way in. And then we found out that it was soul sucking.
God,
Asa Games saying very few games have really tried to physically mold your character based on the way that you play. He always loved that. Presuming about
Mm-hmm.
Fable, hope
Yep.
that comes back in a big way. I think that's a good point, and I would agree with Asa on that as well. I think Star Wars has done that on occasion here and there with some of
Yeah.
the, I want to say Jedi Academy, but I
Mm-hmm.
really do like that idea as well. I think once I see the combat of Fable, that will draw someone like me in, because I told you at the top of the show, and we haven't gotten to my prediction stuff and excitements yet, but
Yeah.
like I said, Gears, COD, and Doom. Like, it wouldn't make sense for me to be like, and Fable too,
Yeah.
like I do want that, but it doesn't necessarily 1-to-1 match. And so I am really excited to see what the combat looks like, because that will be a selling point for me. Will I play Fable for coverage? Yep. Will I play Fable for enjoyment? That'll be the question, right? Like, what's the combat look like? Because I'm telling you, I'm ready to go back to Starfield, because that update looks fire.
Yeah, I genuinely think you would enjoy Fable if they decide to go that route, because I know that you'd like to have that what would you like, I can't think of the D&D
Action. I just like action.
No, I'm thinking like the like chaotic good, whatever those things are called. I can't think of like whatever the D&D things are called. But you like to be that very righteous, upstanding person, hero kind of in games. And
yes.
I think that you would resonate with Fable. Alignments. Thank you, Hometown Hero. Thank you. Yeah, I think you would enjoy Fable because you like to be able to be that upstanding citizen kind of person in games, and I think that Fable gives you would give you that kind of hook, and you, if you give yourself to the role playing aspect of it, you would probably fall deep into it, and then probably go back and play the other games.
That's what I did with Starfield, and I'm Ash is saying that the update is great. I'm really excited to go there, because I tend to play the upstanding. I want to be the Jedi. I want to be the good guy. I want to be the hero and save people. That's what I love being in video games. And I actually rebel when it's not that, right? I don't like when it's not that. So if that's the option in Fable, I'm here for it. Like, I am there for it.
Yeah, I think you'd very quickly fall into that category and enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, are you expecting to see Fable at this showcase? Is that kind of a prediction that you have? Because I would say yes to that as well.
Yeah, one of my predictions was Fable to kind of like show more about what it's going to do, have like another trailer to kind of show off some combat, because I think now that and it feels like a trend, but now that they've like established the world in some of the characters, now they can go a little bit further with the next trailer and start to show us like, this is what the combat's going to look like. This is kind of what the world traversal is going to look like. These are some of the options that you'll have. And we'll start to get a little bit more depth into the game as they slowly start to kind of get us accustomed to what this Fable will be. So yeah, I was very much expecting Fable this update or this showcase.
Hometown Hero in chat talking about the Diablo expansion as well. And Diablo, I've gone into that expansion. I just started last night. I got up to level 15, really enjoying the new expansion. Anxious because the leveling is very fast to find out what it is the season has to offer when you get to max level. And I watched some reviews on it this morning, and it looks very good. Hometown Hero's prediction as well. He says he thinks either Fable or Avowed are hugely featured. So one or the other. If that's the case, if it's a one or the other, you'd have to think it's Avowed that's hugely featured, because it's sooner on the docket. But I will tell you, I was so unimpressed with Avowed. And I realize that this is a trend with these two particular games. So please don't just write off my opinion on that, because there's far more complex elements to it. But Avowed, to me, the combat looked so lackluster, and the showcase that they did of Avowed didn't match what I think the quality of that game will be. And so if they're going to show one or the other, I would think you do more Avowed, because that's sooner, and you take advantage of Summer Game Fest and Xbox Showcase and IGN Live, and you put Avowed in people's hands so they can play it and know what it is.
See, I disagree with you on that one.
Okay, talk to me.
I think that the studio put in a lot of time, effort, and energy into getting something like worked up for the developer update, the developer direct that we got in January, and trying to do another trailer to update people for the Xbox Showcase less than 6 months later. that's a lot of time and energy for a studio that's got other projects that they're working on. And the team that works on the game is responsible for making those trailers and getting that stuff all set up. So I don't think that we will see Avowed at the showcase. I'm sure we'll probably see like an update in August that will kind of showcase Avowed more to give us an idea. But I can't imagine that they are spending that much time working on another media boost for it right now. I would actually be pretty surprised that they're taking time away from the team working on the game, where they need to make sure that this game launches well. Just because there's always been a little bit of hang up with Xbox title launches, not quite having features or having issues at the launch.
I think that's wildly foolish, though, because the game, if you don't show the game and show the game well at this showcase, the questions will start building. Is Avowed in trouble? Are you not coming out? Is it getting delayed? And you want to acknowledge that, get ahead of that narrative before it happens. I think you have to show Avowed in order to avoid that question. Xbox's messaging has been confusing for a number of titles, due in large part to multi-platform approaches. But if you don't showcase Avowed now, the only thing people will be talking about is that Avowed wasn't there. Avowed's in trouble. And I don't think that's a healthy way to showcase your brand.
Or they end up delaying Avowed till next year and give the team more time based on the feedback from the developer direct this year.
I would love that, but I don't know that that's even like, did that help Redfall? Did it help
Redfall
Halo?
needed more than the year, though.
Yes, but I'm talking about like if you're a media person, if you're writing an article, did it help Halo? Did it help Redfall? Did it help Forza Motorsport? They all came out broken, messed up at launch, not where the potential should have been. So that's kind of like, I'm thinking about the articles that will be written if that is the case, and that's what they choose to do. I wish they would take advantage of their early access platform that Xbox has access to.
Yeah, but I think that the difference being is that with Obsidian, they tend to do pretty well on their targets for launch dates. So unless the reception to Avowed was so lackluster from the developer direct, then they might go to Xbox and say, hey, we're pretty much done with this, but we also know that we could, use an extra year's worth of time since then and change up the lineup. But I also recognize that Xbox is a very tight schedule when it comes to games, and they slot stuff in well in advance. But the like in Kevin in chat, Muffin Man saying that the Avowed delayed again showcases Xbox poor management. Honestly, though,
that would be the narrative. And then look at his follow-up comment. That's the other narrative.
It would be the narrative, but honestly, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I would probably be getting a better game than when it launched. I think that the narrative behind like poor management on Xbox's behalf, like that may be the case, but also games are hard to make, and we have to continuously remind ourselves like it's okay that games get delayed. Crunch is bad. Things happen in the development, and we always kind of come back to this. Things aren't being managed well. Well, we also aren't there, so we don't really know what's going on. And yeah, it could be mismanagement. And if that's the case, I'd still rather have it delayed, because I would still rather have the better game, knowing that they delayed it for a reason, than have it pushed out and then have another Halo, have another Redfall, have another, X number game that launches poorly, because Obsidian doesn't really launch their games bad.
I've heard too many times in the last 3 years, such and such doesn't miss. And I no longer believe that in anything. I just don't.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, we got into this whole Avowed or Fable thing based on Hometown Heroes comment. Do you think we see both? Do you predict? I predict we see both.
I think
Comfortably
we'll see.
predicted, by the way.
I mean, I would expect a Fable update, because that is a very large title for Xbox right now. Avowed is soon-ish, so I wouldn't be surprised if they gave a date and gave us like, this is the launch window for Avowed. That would be what I expect. I'm not expecting them to spend 5 minutes on it though.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to put the Avowed and Fable kind of to rest for a moment and acknowledge that we know for a fact that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is going to be there. That marketing campaign started. It looks like a marketing campaign for real. So it's really nice to see, if I'm being honest. I'm excited that we know what Call of Duty is coming. We know that it's Treyarch. They're getting an Xbox showcase and then a Call of Duty Direct. And they're back to back, similar to the way we saw Starfield do something last year. I like that. I like that a lot because COD, I'm there for it. But COD is one of those things that not everyone is there for, but a lot of people are interested in.
What?
It's just not like, what I mean is like those watching a showcase, like, do you need to see COD for 20 minutes at an Xbox showcase? No. You need to know that it's part of Xbox, and then you can have a deep dive, right? Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I agree with that.
So make sure I word properly. I think that's a great call to do that. I think we all kind of knew that was what was happening. Black Ops 6, there's a lot of name panache there with Black Ops. I mean, most people are either Modern Warfare or Black Ops fans when it comes to Call of Duty. So I'm excited to see just blops, COD mop blops. I'm stoked for it. I think it looks like people are stoked as well. If I look at my socials, I'm really excited that we're going to see this as part of the Xbox thing, and what this might do for the brand is exciting.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited to see where they decide to kind of showcase this, because we've seen Call of Duty and Activision do their own marketing for Call of Duty all the time. It's nice that it's going to be kind of butted up against the back of the showcase in this case, so I'm really excited to see it. I genuinely have no history beyond Call of Duty shoving their game onto the BattleNet launcher and me being like, what's this? I play WoW. And then downloading it and being really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I can't even remember what the first Battle Royale was, but I remember really getting a kick out of that. But I can't tell you what the difference between Blops and Modern Warfare is. But we play Call of Duty every week, and I've really fallen in love with the franchise and just how it plays, the different modes that are available, all the content that they release, and I can't wait to spend time with you guys in whatever the next one is. So I'm really happy to kind of know that Xbox is finally going to have an opportunity to showcase Call of Duty the way Call of Duty typically does it. And it won't be one of these, well, I can't say that it won't, but there's a higher probability that it won't be one of these situations where PlayStation gets a week's early access through pre-orders, because that always frustrated me is like, well, I want to play it, but I'm not going to buy it on PlayStation, so I have to wait.
I always find those to be just obnoxious things. Like such and such platform gets bonus XP is a very stupid, foolish, silly thing that doesn't actually help your community. I like Court Lalonde's question here. How many games do you think from this showcase will be available on PS5? Do you think games that are originally labeled as console exclusive will now have a PS5 version? So this is one of those funny things that I think people are really getting stuck in on. Xbox has had a multi-platform strategy for years. And ever since they purchased Bethesda, we've known that they're willing to support games in multiple places. And I say Bethesda, not Mahjong, because I think Minecraft is a different beast and is not necessarily thought of in the same space, despite it being an example. What? Why are you?
You said Mahjong instead of Mojang.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Mahjong
is that game.
It's a game.
Yeah. It's like that Chinese.
I have no clue. It's funny though.
I don't know. Fair enough. Mojang. Yeah, thanks. That really seemed to get him. So how many games do we expect to be multi-platform or showcasing on the PlayStation 5? A lot, but like all your Activision Blizzard, all your Bethesda, to include Doom. Jez and many others are reporting that Doom, The Dark Ages, which was previously kind of understood to be Year Zero, is coming out. And for some reason, people were really surprised that it would be multi-platform. It makes perfect sense for Doom to be multi-platform. I do not believe that a game that was previously multi-platform should go exclusive. I don't think that's healthy. I would not have liked that. Because Doom has been in multiple places multiple times. Why not put it elsewhere? I have no problem with that. I think the The question that constantly kind of comes in conjunction with, is it multi-platform? Why even get an Xbox? You get an Xbox for Game Pass, and perhaps some of the games come early. Like right now, Hellblade 2 is only on Xbox. Do I expect Hellblade 2 to eventually be on PS5? Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. Do I expect Starfield? Yes. That's okay. Right? Like if that happens with the Starfield Shattered Space expansion, cool, fine. I like if you have Game Pass, that's why you have an Xbox. That's the point. Ask me a year ago, maybe it's different. Does the childish part of me that wants Xbox to be the winner? Yeah, but that's a childish part of me. I've not been affected for 5 years in playing Fortnite with Joseph Moran. Like in playing Call of Duty, it never once occurs to me that he's on his PlayStation, except when his stupid ass mic runs out of battery and that dumb controller starts becoming his microphone. That's the only time I'm ever like, PlayStation 5 sucks. I've never once thought that, except when that microphone takes over. Like, that's it. I don't care.
For Doom to go multi-plat, I expect it, because back when they purchased ZeniMax, Phil had talked about how established IPs are going to remain multi-platform. Doom is an established IP. Ninja Theory is not a part of ZeniMax. They can do whatever they want with ZeniMax, or they can do whatever they want with Ninja Theory, because they bought it outright. They can do whatever they want with it. But the expectation when ZeniMax was purchased, and all the people were freaking out about Fallout and Elder Scrolls and stuff, they all wanted to know what was going to happen with the multi-plat situation. And they said new IPs are going to be case by case. Established IPs are going to remain multi-plat. That was kind of the expectation. Doom, I expect multiplayer. It's really good for that. They really love having games, available for everywhere. Doom was one of those games that was like a shareware game back in the 90s. Like it's just, it makes sense to have that everywhere. Doesn't mean it can't change, but it definitely doesn't mean that it needs to be exclusive either. It can still have just as much value, and we can get it day one Game Pass. So genuinely, like, if you don't want to spend $60-$70 on Doom, have Game Pass. Let it be there.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Let them be Game Pass, let them be other places, but be day and date for Game Pass. Showcase the console, in the marketing. Show the Xbox in the marketing. See what's up. See if that makes a difference. See if COD makes a difference. I anticipate this being the showcase where we get a big Activision drop, where the old Call of Duties all drop into Game Pass. I want that to be the case. Like, hey, Black Ops 6 is coming out, and play all the old Black Ops campaigns now on Game Pass. Or they make some sort of pitch like that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Amusingly, there's an Activision Blizzard sale going on right now all the way up to the showcase. So conspiracy theories
do this
thing.
They do this every time there's like there's going to be like a drop or like a new game or something like that, or something's going to be coming to a service. Like, they drop the sales so they can bait people into buying during the sale before the new launch. Like, it's like clockwork. I've noticed this trend every single day. It's like trusting that Ubisoft is going to drop the price of their games in the first 3 months. Like, you just know it's going to happen.
This is an interesting comment from Additune here. Addy Dotune. I always mess up his name. I hope that Microsoft announces a third-party arm. Tell everyone so-and-so game made under this umbrella is a multi-platform. I understand the need, the sentiment. I think something Xbox needs to do is just come out and say X game is multi-platform, X game is exclusive or timed exclusive. That's the problem with Blade. Which I do not anticipate we see here. I don't predict we see Blade in any way, shape, or form. No. But, everybody focused on, well, where's Blade going, as opposed to the excitement of a Blade game being announced, but made by an Xbox studio. And so that's kind of the thing. And if you're telling me, like, we're not going to see Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and it says Xbox Game Studio pop up on a PlayStation screen, like, that's a big win for Xbox. Right? Like, I like that. I want that. And I keep saying I want these wins for Xbox, not because I'm diehard, like Xbox has to be number one. That's not going to happen. But I want competition. That's important. We need that. And some ground must be recovered, lest we see a future that is not necessarily one ripe with competition. And that's just kind of the point that I'm making there.
I don't disagree. I think
But
everyone kind of just assumes that Xbox being in third place is where they will forever be. Uh, I it's going to take a big shift in mentality away from PlayStation, which given current landscape of PlayStation, like they're
they're in
on that
trouble.
track. They're
Did you
on that
see?
track,
Did you
dude.
see the graph the Nintendo like so there was a graph of like monies made, like
I
sold
love
versus
monies.
revenue. It was sold versus revenue. And
Yeah,
like PlayStation was in trouble. And this was from like, I don't want to say gamesindustry.biz was it, but it was one that was an established,
yeah,
appreciated, respected outlet. And I was like, ugh, that's concerning. And like as a consumer, not my problem. Not my problem that Xbox isn't in front, but
yeah.
like, ugh, I was a
Yeah,
little
no,
worried for them.
it's one of those. It's a weird time right now. A lot of studios have projects that they're working on, and nothing's really ready. And Sony has not really fostered too many partnerships with second and third party studios right now to try and get any kind of deals going. So, this transition between Jim Ryan to the new two CEOs has definitely seen like a little bit of a lull in like what Sony's going to be working on. So I hope they get to a point where they can start making some news. Hopefully we'll
Yeah.
get a showcase soon, because otherwise, like, I feel bad for Sony fans who only have one console. You're just gonna have to switch consoles or something like that. But yeah,
Jeff
it's kind of
Grubb's out
weird.
there like R. Kelly in an interview. He's dying out there saying there's going to be a PlayStation showcase. He swears it. Fillmore Pocket says these games going to PlayStation are all rumor, or has there been an official announcement that walks back what Phil Spencer said a few months ago? That's a good question, and a good clarifying question. So Xbox's strategy has been multi-platform for some time. They broke the mold when they decided to send Sea of Thieves over, when they decided to send Grounded over, when they decided to send Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment over. And that was kind of the shift in strategy, because it wasn't like a Call of Duty or a Diablo that was somewhere else already that they were continuing to support. It wasn't Fallout 76 they were continuing to support. So I don't think Phil has walked back his statements so much as it feels like that on our end, because we're seeing a change in Xbox front-facing strategy. The idea that they send a game over is not surprising or concerning. The idea that they shut down Tango Gameworks was what was surprising and concerning. And so I think
Yeah,
that's kind of those two feelings that you're having, Fillmore, are what are kind of clashing right now. They're intermixing and they feel the same, but the strategy for Xbox has been multi-platform for some time, with few exceptions. The number of games they own that are multi-platform dwarfs the number of games they own that are not multi-platform.
yeah. I think the difference here is that not that Xbox is going back on what they've said. It's that they're evolving their strategy to make up for the lack of growth that has been in the industry. Not to say
Mm-hmm.
that they still aren't in a better place than they were like 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but that where they were predicting they would be is not where they need to be. And they need to find other ways to make that kind of growth. And
Right.
for them, players is growth. So selling a game on PlayStation gives you players that you normally wouldn't have, because Game Pass isn't growing the way they expected it to. Consoles aren't growing the way that they expected to. Titles are coming out, but there's not much growth, and that's where they want. Like Microsoft wants monthly active users. Xbox wants subscriptions to Game Pass or sales. They
Mm-hmm.
want more people playing these multiplayer games. So putting them out in other places is a way for them to get that growth
Mm-hmm.
without hiking the price of the game or the cost of Game Pass.
I do want to talk about Gears of War and Pipe Dreams and kind of where some of these other games might be, like Perfect Dark, like
Yeah.
uh, South by Midnight, and a few others. But first, I would like to take a moment and read the channel members for YouTube and just thank them for being so supportive, because they are doing a number of wonderful things financially to support this show, which I really appreciate and want to thank. So I'm pulling up that list right now. You should see your names scrolling at the bottom, but you guys are all just very much appreciated. So let's give a shout out to our tier 1 channel members, Alex Poltron, Tom S, Andrew Cannon, Isaac Hayes, 85, Baz Hayes, RC Polygons, William Lewis, Polybaba, Creed and Eve, Nola Origins, Rick Gaffney, Kevin Ainsworth, Neon Black, Painful Discourse, Trickster, Pixel Bit G, Todd, Oxtra, Ryan T, Back from Dead, Focus Active, Split End 89, Stanley Francois, Clint Coombs, you're a tier 2, Silkenit at tier 1, Ellery Woods Parker III at tier 2, Silent Cypher tier 1, Sorgonaut 1, Saborito, Matt Sarian, Fresh 2180, Captain Crunch, Happy Cloud Gamer, X Bacon Gaming, Cheeseworks, all at tier 1. Matt Valdez at tier 3 as our sole and only tier 3 member. Thank you so much, my friend. Jonathan B, Addy Zero, Addy Toon at tier 1, and Matto1606 at tier 2. Rick Davis, Spartan P451, and Nisa Hauer at tier 1. Whew, Jam-Pack Sam at tier 2. Appreciate you. Whew, that's a lot. I love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Hype Train, Choo Choo, appreciate you. Haha, it rhymes. I wish I hadn't said that. All right. Didn't want it to sound like that. It just kind of did. Now I feel silly.
Okay.
All right. Oh, goodness. So, Gears of War, my friend. Gears of War. Are we going to see it? I have thoughts. You go first.
No, I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to get an announcement trailer, a teaser kind of what's going on. I don't think we're going to get a lot because I think that they're still pretty early on. But I do think that we will see that this is a project that is getting made. And I think that that's going to be like the extent of it. So it'll get enough of the Gears fans hyped. I still don't think that we're going to see that Marcus Phoenix collection at any point. So I'm not thinking that that's going to be like a thing that we'll get hyped up on. But yeah, I do think that we'll see Gear 6. I hope that it'd be nice if they went back to Gears of War because I did love the name. But we have to see something from the Coalition. It's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. I'm very excited for what we see from Gears of War. I think a lot of questions are, what are we going to get? Are we going to see Gears of War 6? Are we going to see a Gears collection?
Judgment Day
Gears
2.
of War Tactics 2? Do we get Gears Judgment 2, like a spinoff? Whatever it is that the Coalition has been working on, I'm here for it. I think it's time for Gears to make a comeback. And I honestly think if Call of Duty hits this year and Doom and Gears are next year for new titles, that's a pretty heavy hitter. And that gets attention, right? Because they're all kind of running in that same vein of not bro shooter, but like heavy, bombastic, like really high-fi going, gun. Like that to me is a marketing pitch that kind of coalesces quite well together.
Yeah.
If you can have a trailer where you've got COD, Doom, and Gears running, then suddenly Gears is not expected to be the pillar of Xbox, and it can just be Gears for people that like it. Would I love to see a collection? Yes, I would. Do I think that Gears collection should have just 2 games in it to start with Gears 1 and 2 remastered, and then you bring the 3rd in later on, and then kind of bring 4 in over time? Yes, that's what I think it should be. And I think that coupled with the strategy of like these remasters for Morrowind or for Skyrim or for, older Fallout games, that to me, the remasters should fill the gap in Game Pass that third parties will no longer likely fill as they shift strategies. And that to me is dope, by the way. Like, you don't need to bring Jedi Survivor in day one. Right? Not that they were, but my point remains the same. You don't need to bring in that big third-party game and pay for it when you can bring a remaster in for a month of Spotlight. And I think that's the way to do it. So I want Gears of War to hit. I want to know what the Coalition is doing. And I will tell you this, Logan. Honest to God, man, after playing Hellblade 2 and seeing what that engine can do, you're telling me that the masters of that engine, the Coalition, what they might do on this hardware with Gears, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I want this so badly.
And I don't get it for a long time.
And I don't care if it's on PlayStation. Just want to play it.
I don't care where it is. I just, as long as it's on Xbox, that's so fine. Here's, it would be really awesome. I had this thought like in my mind, and it would be really, really crazy if it actually happened. But you have like the Doom logo appear on screen in its beautiful, beautiful font. and then one of the O's fades and the letters come together to form the word Dom. And you find out that Dom is in the new Doom, and he's the new Doom guy. And you get this weird like because I know you love your crossovers. You get this crossover where you can play as Dominic in Doom.
You're not saying as like the game, but like a skin.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. I was like, oh boy.
No, I don't think
Logan's gone through a lot lately. Like he lost.
We gotta start like crossbreeding these plants to come out with a new type of flower. Like, no, I'm just saying like it'd be really fun if they did like announcement for Gear 6 and a new Doom, and they're like, hey, by the way, we're taking some of we're taking some of the Gears characters and putting skins in Doom, because I mean they had they had like the unicorn Doom guy in there. They had so many skins in there, so I think it would be funny to see like Gears characters in Doom, and vice versa. Like you pull the Doom guy into Gears, and you have like his outfit as like some of the Gears armor in there. But it would just be really fun if like the day one exclusive, Game Pass only skins was like Dom, and he's like an undead version or something like that. It'd be funny.
Okay. Yeah, no, okay, that I understand. I was just worried that I was like, oh, Logan's lost it. Okay, we're here now.
I'm here with ideas. I'm throwing ideas. I'm seeing like, what people latch on to. Like, this is how marketing works.
That's fair. I would love the idea of more cross promotion between all of them. It's weird. It's really weird to see Fallout in Fortnite and not Call of Duty. But I will tell you, Logan, you weren't there last night. We played the new season of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yo, it is incredible. It's Mad Max. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And there's plenty.
I went to go see Mad Max last night. That's where I was.
Was it
good?
Good?
To go see it was all right.
Oh,
it was all right.
Well,
I love Mad Max Fury Road. I think Fury Road is probably one of the greatest films that's ever been made.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I do. No, it genuinely is like a like perfect testament to what you can do in film. Cinematography, sound, story. It's a perfect film. Furiosa Saga left me a little flat.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to Fallout because I want to go back to that Fury Road feel. Like I watched Fury Road before I went out to go see Furiosa the other day, and so I wanted it to be really good. I really did. But I'm looking forward to the Fallout stuff and the Mad Max stuff in Fortnite.
Split End pointing out Fallout is supposedly already in the season 4 COD files. Yes, I know that. I agree, but it is just surprising. Like it's just one of those odd elements, right?
Yeah.
But I agree.
Sea of Thieves not having a dynamic theme on the Xbox Series X, like it just doesn't make sense.
He's never gonna let this go, guys.
I'm never gonna freaking let that go. Never, not until I get it. Did you know that there, what was it? I gotta find this real quick. Vamp for me for a second, because I gotta find this, because Tom Warren posted a thing that had here it is. Warhammer has a dynamic background on Xbox Series X, and you're telling me that Sea of Thieves can't get off their butts and make a dynamic theme?
Here's the thing, Logan. I used my birthday wish last November requesting specifically that we would never get a dynamic theme for Sea of Thieves on Xbox, just to bother you.
How would you do that? That's your birthday wish. You could have wished for anything. You could have wished for.
No, it's giving me a lot of joy.
Johansson.
Did you see these people like stealing her AI voice against her will? It's like, oh
no,
boy.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's bad.
There's a whole bunch of weird stuff going on.
Yeah. So, all right, loop us back here. Or I'm looping us back to say, Gears of War. We kind of sound like we're in agreement. We're gonna see it at this showcase.
Yeah.
Are you anticipating we see a collection or Gears Tactics as well as Gear 6?
Nah. Just Gear 6. Focus on the main franchise. Collection's already available on Game Pass. You guys don't need a box.
Oh, well, you're actively wrong. Okay. So
suck it, Luke. You're not getting your wish.
I think we see a good amount of Indiana Jones at this one, but not as much as we saw last time. I think maybe we just see a little bit more. Maybe we answer some questions about frame rates or whatnot, but I think a lot of this, we know a lot. I listed the projects we know for Xbox.
Yeah.
Right. We know about Avowed, Indiana Jones, Flight Sim, Aura, Towerborn, State of Decay 3, Contraband, Perfect Dark, Fable, Everwild, Gear 6, COD Mop Lop 6, South by Midnight, Clockwork Revolution, and Blade. We know about those.
Yep.
We don't know about other Gears projects, whatever it is working on, though Doom is kind of obvious right now.
Yeah.
Outer Worlds, any mascot platformers like Banjo, Spyro, Crash, any of that, and any remakes or remasters. So I guess the question is for Indiana Jones, how much do we see knowing that it's this year?
So this is one where I think they do the deep dive, not about Indiana Jones. Known IP, easy to market, very much need to like deep dive into Indiana Jones, give it some breath, give it some prove why the third person, first person issue is not actually an issue. And really kind of give some more time to that. That's where I feel like we will start to see more and more of what Indiana Jones is going to end up being.
So that's your thought process there. Do you think we get a release date? Like a definitive?
They have to. I think they have to do a release date for Indiana Jones, and I definitely think that Avowed would be nice, but I would not be surprised again if that game gets delayed. That one I feel like will most definitely kind of fall to 2025. If any of these were to, that one is one that I'm willing to bet that if we were expecting it in 2024, that Avowed would get pushed to 2025. But Indiana Jones, I think we're going to get a launch date. I think we're going to get a trailer, kind of like showing off more of the story and what's going to happen, what you're going to be doing, something like that. And honestly, I'm kind of hoping that they pitch it through as like an Uncharted style trailer, like as if they were like taking you through Nathan Drake's mindset of what's going to be happening in this game or something like that. Like they really kind of like pull out all the stops for this game.
I think they need to sell people on Indiana Jones, and I don't mean the people watching the showcase. I don't mean the people that are watching show. You've got to find a way for Indiana Jones to be relevant to USA Today, to the non-gaming people, because as we've argued many times on this show and others, how relevant is Indy? That's debatable. But do the people not interested in gaming, do they need to know about this? And I think that's what you need to do, is find a way to sell them on it.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think that you have to build the zeitgeist marketing for Indiana Jones, because I think the thing right now is Indiana Jones fans are out there. I think Indiana Jones fans are bummed because Harrison Ford is 97 billion years old, and they want younger Indy from like, back in the 80s and stuff, when he was, vibrant and jumping around and stuff like that. Games give that to you. And I think the best way to capture that nostalgia from indie fans who, love the original movies is to do it in a video game and then market the shit out of it. Sorry, I should have cussed that one out, but they need to like get that out to as many people as possible, that, hey, there's a young indie game that's coming out where you get to punch Nazis. Like that's the bid, that's the buy on there. Honestly, they ought to call because I know we got id coming in later on. I'd be curious if we're going to be seeing anything like Wolfenstein, because that's been a pretty dormant franchise ever since Youngblood. Yeah, they were in trouble before the buyout.
I'm curious about that as well, but I don't think the focus will be there, given that we have a lot on the dock. I listed all those games that we know about, and right now, Avowed, Flight Sim, Indie, and oh my gosh, COD are all this year.
Yeah,
we just had Hellblade. Then you've got Vessel of Hatred and Diablo, Shattered Space and Starfield. You've got so much content that you've got to find a way to talk about if you're Xbox.
And we still haven't talked about the staples that are at every single showcase. So like Elder Scrolls Online, they're going to have a new project coming out, because they always do. Sea of Thieves has got the Flameheart update coming out that they will most definitely market season 12 for in the Xbox showcase. You've got the Microsoft simulators. We still there's no word on update for Forza 5. So Forza 5, Forza Motorsport. Thank you.
Yeah, Forza 5 just got a really cool update. Apparently, everyone's loving it. The synthwave stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks really neat.
Synthwave stuff.
Yeah, worth
Okay, I'm
looking
gonna
up.
have to cloud stream some stuff, some Forza, because I didn't know about this synthwave stuff, and I'm a sucker for synthwave, so I'm gonna have
So
to figure out about this.
look it up while I talk for a second,
All
okay?
right.
Because it's dope. So now you've got a full slate all ready for this year, and you got to find, if you're Xbox, you got to find a way to talk about all that. And then you got to figure out, okay, what are you going to talk about for Q1? I think Doom is a Q1 game. I've heard Doom is a Q1 game. There's your leak for the day. I've heard Doom is
Yeah.
a Q1 game for 2025. Perfect Dark was slated for late 2025, last I heard. And like maybe that gets bumped into a launch for the next Xbox console, which is supposed to be in 2026 early. You still got to talk about South by Midnight and Clockwork Revolution. Which one of those are next year? And so how much do you tease about that? State of Decay is far away. What's Towerborn doing? I don't think you should spend hardly any time save for like a quick sizzle on Flight Sim or Aura, because those just don't talk to a lot of people that are watching this showcase. They talk to their own people.
You
They
do
don't talk
need to give a little bit, though.
a little bit, but this, like, the showcase isn't for those people. That's like talking. That's like when you do talk about Elder Scrolls Online in the middle of your Xbox showcase. That's when everyone goes to get water, because the people that are there for it are there, but they're not.
Yeah.
Silken it says he wants
those games are so
date.
those games are so big. The Silk Song is not a game, fam. I love you so much. When I say I love you. Silk Song it's not a game. It's a title. It may be a game in like 5 years, but it's not a game.
Someone clip this. Someone clip it. Shove it in his face later.
I don't care. You think I care about being wrong about stuff? My whole life is about being wrong about stuff. I was born in wrong. I was raised in wrong. I was Catholic. This Forza update looks hot, by the way.
It does. All right, I'm going to pull a Hometown Heroes quote because he's desperate to talk about this.
Okay.
So he wants StarCraft to get an announcement, and he wants not StarCraft, the StarCraft team to be making Halo Wars 3 as like a pipe dream. I'm here for that.
Buddy, guys, I don't know how to tell you this. There is no StarCraft team. That team left. They're making their own game.
Logan, you are a thief of joy. We want Halo Wars 3. We deserve it.
Expectations. The StarCraft team is gone. There is
Halo
one
Wars
janitor.
3 lives.
There's one janitor over there that is still pushing the update button every time he comes in to empty to sweep and dust. Just like the HOTS team, he goes in, he checks to make sure that the servers are still going, and every once in a while, the little duster hits the update button. That is StarCraft. I love you all. There is a StarCraft game that will come out that's not called StarCraft, that's been like available for a bit. You can go find that, but that team is gone. We're not getting that. I'm so sorry to have to break the news to you.
You're a thief of joy. We want Halo Wars 3 and we deserve it. Okay? If Halo Wars 3 gets announced next to all this other stuff, I'm losing it. It
will not be a Blizzard team. I can guarantee that.
I don't believe you. He's been wrong before, guys. He just did a whole rant about how he's wrong. Okay.
He's born in wrong.
I don't think we see anything from Contraband unless that game's close. And we don't know what it is, and I don't know how it could be a thing. But State of Decay 3, I'd love an update on it.
State of Decay 3 again is not a game yet. That is like just last year they transferred State of Decay time over to like the UK based team. So all of the main people for State of Decay 2 have just went full on with State of Decay 3. It was great that we got that trailer, but much like Outer Worlds 2, that was it. Like there was no game.
You're a thief of joy.
Games. Setting expectations, guys. I love you all, but I'm trying to make it real.
No. Uncapped Games is working on an RTS that's being announced at Summer Games Fest, made up of former StarCraft peeps, says Split End. So Kev, there's something for you, buddy. I don't know. I wonder what happened to Towerborn. I don't know. Can I say, here's something I predict is going to happen at our showcase. We get the whole, like, here are your Activision games in Game Pass, and it's extended beyond just that of Call of Duty. You get your Singularity. Maybe you get some old stuff. But really, what I would like to see come out of kind of IP hell are the old Spider-Man games, the old Wolverine game, Deadpool, like anything that was linked somehow. Because Sarah Bond greenlit that team. I think there's a good possibility as we see these companies pushing multi-platform, as we see these companies making more efforts to bring their IP back.
Yeah.
I think that happens. Like, I would love a Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4.
Is that
Or
a showcase worthy thing though? Like, is that a thing that's like you're marketing the next year of your content?
I think what the way that it works is you talk about how Call of Duty, you talk about Game Pass, and Game Pass owners, you're now getting this, and this. And it's nestled in there. It's not like a spotlight unless you've got like FPS boost for all of them or something. But I don't think that's a spotlight piece. I think it's a moment similar to the Phil Spencer coming out on stage saying, and we've got back compat, and day and date into Game Pass. Like, those moments are good. Those aren't things you spend a ton of time on. That's what I mean.
When they do the sizzle reel for oh god, this would be hot. When they do the sizzle reel for like Elder Scrolls Online is getting a new expansion. Sea of Thieves Season 12 is coming out with Flameheart. And I always forget what the other one is. What's the other game that they always toss
Grounded,
in with
Fallout 76?
Fallout 76. They always do the Fallout 76 thing too. So Fallout 76 is getting a new event to be worked in. They announce all of the back compat stuff from Activision Blizzard shadow dropped like day one, like they do it that day. And they announce that all of the characters in Heroes of the Storm are free. All of the co-op campaign commanders in StarCraft 2 are free, and that the WoW subscription is being worked on to be included in Game Pass. And that you get 20% off of purchasing the expansion for World of Warcraft and Diablo Vessels of Hatred. Like, that would be hot.
Yeah.
That would be hot for me. I would have to go shower after something like that.
Your analogies today are really taking us on a journey.
Are they? You like that journey?
New Logan is
spicy.
Spicy. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Spicy Logan.
Straight to Horny Joe. Go. You're 2 episodes away from liking those anime visual novels that,
they're called manga. And
whatever.
I'll say, how
that's
dare
not the
you?
ones I was talking about.
Oh,
those aren't the same.
Those
aren't the same. Hey, Bison's in here. GPU Game Pass Ultimate is $20 now. Yeah, a lot of people are wondering if we're going to see a price hike for Game Pass. You don't see that at the showcase. They don't put that in the showcase. That's not a thing.
If they do, it's not going to be at the showcase. It'll be at the Call of Duty thing. And what they'll do is they will pitch it as the Call of Duty tier, and they'll bump it up. And Call of Duty Season Pass, early access, collector stuff will be included with the higher tier, and that's how you build the value of that.
I think that's a press release 2 weeks after. I think that's a press release. There are blog posts that you see like after.
But Xbox sucks at marketing, so they're willing to trip over a rake like in the midst of them, thinking it's a cool moment.
Fair, can't argue that. Okay, fair enough. Can't argue that. I am curious. Do you anticipate we see remasters or remakes for any of like the old stuff? Like, we know about the New Vegas remaster was a thing at one point in the internal documents that the FTC leak showed. Do you anticipate we see any of those announced?
So I feel like when I was thinking last night of like stuff that they could do to kind of, because whatever they do for like remasters, remakes, I think that they want to do something Fallout themed, because they realized they were kind of like unprepared for how successful the Fallout TV show was going to be. So I do think that they want to do something like that, but I think that if they were to do something like that, it would be like a Fallout queued in kind of thing, because they want to kind of keep that relevance rolling right now. They want to keep Fallout as like a pop, especially with the Fortnite stuff that just came out, and knowing that COD is going to have something in it as well. I think, yeah, you want to get people to be like, oh yeah, oh, I can't wait for Fallout to have a new Vegas remake kind of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think if they do, they do it with Fallout compared to like Gears of War, because you don't need it.
Okay, so if do we think that I'm just gonna stop on that one. I paused my thought because it wasn't a complete thought. Split End says, do we think the Fallout 3 remaster remake is real? I do think it is real. I don't necessarily know that it's
done.
I don't know how far along it is, but
Yeah.
I do think it's real based on that self-inflicted wound from Xbox where they published all their documents, right? Now, whether or not the project continued on from then, I don't know, but I would have to think it's been reignited if it was on pause. Silken, it says, I swear if there's an increase and not a tier option for COD, I'll unsub from Game Pass. I think that's a fair reaction.
Yeah.
I think that's a very fair reaction.
100%.
Tier options, I think, are a good thing for Xbox at this point. There is a finite amount of time that anyone has, and tiers give you that. I think one thing they could do is they could stand to learn from PlayStation is how not to do tiered system. It is confusing for someone outside of kind of the know to understand what to do with the PlayStation tiers, because PlayStation Plus is a pretty great service, right?
Yeah.
But knowing which tier is right for you, they should learn how to message that. A simple tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or some, bronze, silver, gold.
The marketing needs to be really, really like, there's a like core Game Pass premium is where you should really try to like make it understandable. Use terms that we understand. Like the core value of Xbox Game Pass is right here. Then you just have Game Pass, and then you have premium, and that's like, have the tiers understandable in a layman's.
Yeah. One thing that Silkenet notes is I do have Game Pass to spotlight and help smaller games, not finance COD. I think COD is going to finance itself going forward. I mean, every year they have multiple battle passes for a year, and within those battle passes, there's a standard, then there's Black Cell. If you're familiar with Black Cell, it's just like their boost up version, which I love.
$30.
$30, well worth it. Well worth it. Absolutely love Black Cell, but I play COD, right? I play COD religiously.
Yeah.
Then you've got the shift in strategy definitely seem to torpedo your hi-fi rushes, but also step back and look at Hi-Fi Rush, a 5-year development cycle for a $30 game that wasn't going to sell is a tough ask. Shutting down a studio, frustrating. Opening a studio in Poland where it's a lot cheaper with wages and stuff than running a solo satellite studio in Japan makes sense. It's just annoying. Besides, COD is financed by being multi-plat across a number of places too. I love that. This has got to be Kevin Ainsworth. This is his logic. I want to build your own Game Pass option. You are drinking from a Kool-Aid that I would like to borrow, my friend. I'm on vacation soon. I would like some of that Kool-Aid. Build your own Game Pass option sounds dope, but unlikely.
Yeah, I would. And he kind of clarifies, because I was teasing him about just being able to buy games on you. So he wants like a Cloud or EA to drop, so you can have like a $5 thing here and there. Yeah, I'd
drop EA in a heartbeat.
I would happily drop EA if I could swap it to Ubisoft, because I play a lot more Ubisoft titles than I do EA, but I'm getting value from EA that I don't need. And I would love to be able to like click a little button on my Game Pass options that say, like, if you want to select one of these services to be included in your Game Pass Ultimate, you can click one of these. Or additionally, if you click multiple for $5 extra, you can add these to your thing. And like, you get one included, but you can add multiple if you want, and start building the cable bundle of Game Pass subscriptions kind of thing.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Todd Oxter says, sad to see that COD is still on last gen. It's a rare game that would drive console sales. I 100% agree. Knock it off, Xbox. Stop making stuff for Xbox One. Like, stop. Like, please just stop. Like, I Xbox One needs to go. I have Many of them I have great memories, but it needs to go. It's 2013 hardware, and the simple fact is, it was outsold 2.5 or 3 to 1 by PlayStation. It's probably even further than that now. There's no reason to put your game on Xbox One if you can drive those customers towards Game Pass and Xbox Series devices. No.
The Xbox One is like walking with death, and he's like, "Was I good?"
No. No. Mind you, I have 2 Xbox One X's. I loved the Xbox One S. Great hardware versus the VCR, but like, no, the Series S and X are peak hardware. It's a shame they're not selling. It really is a shame.
Yeah,
because those are,
I don't know, make them cheaper. I'm just saying, like $300 a lot easier to swallow than
that's not it.
500, dude. I saw
that's not it.
I saw the ads. Yes, it is. Yeah, no, I saw the ads for like the N64, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I was paying $75 back in the day for those games." And I'm like, "Yeah, look at the console; it's $150. Of course, these games are $75."
No, first of all, the ratio is different. Second of all, please click like on the video. Third, no, every one of those games had killer apps: Shadows of the Empire, Rogue Squadron, GoldenEye, Star Fox 64.
Okay.
That's
Shadows
why you bought
Empire, it. Not like it's not that great.
At the time, it was
a good game. It was.
You go buy a PlayStation 4, you're getting God of War, you're getting Spider-Man, you're getting Infamous, you're getting all these great experiences. Buy a Series X and you're getting games that are on your Xbox One. And that's the problem, right? Buy a Series X and you get Starfield.
Okay.
You have to have a big one.
Problem solved. Cloud streaming. Just stream the games to your Xbox One.
You have told me time and again that cloud is not the future.
I'm not saying it's the future.
That's not a thing.
I'm not saying it's the future. I'm saying like this is an alternative to having to buy an Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S.
There are a lot of alternatives to having to buy, but
that are still on your
Xbox One anything. That's my point.
I'm just saying, like anyone that has an Xbox One that did not take advantage of the Series S $200 deal back in the day, I feel for you. Because you should have found some way.
The Biason, I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I apologize. But what's the benefit of bringing COD players from Xbox One to Xbox Series X? They don't earn any money on consoles. No, what you do is you get an install base and you have people into your more modern ecosystem, which is the win. Okay, that's the win because many of these games are now moving into it to current gen only. And you keep them in Game Pass to engage. And that's the point. That's what you want. No one should have to continuously support hardware that was 2013 bound. We are 10 years plus removed from that. So that's why you do that. They are not making money on hardware. You're correct. But the point is to keep them within the ecosystem, and keeping them locked into that ecosystem where they have less access to things that pay out is the problem.
Yeah,
developers are being they're being constrained. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think the thing here is you want to push them into an ecosystem that will persist for another 5 years, and giving them a better experience on newer hardware will be the reward for pushing them into it. It's just like eventually like your phone just gets to a point where you're like, I cannot stand how slow this damn thing is. I have to get a new phone. Even if it's an older phone that isn't like the brand new one, you just eventually run into a point where you just get too frustrated with how things are operating.
And Silkenit makes the point that I was so frustrated I didn't eloquently say. If you keep them in the Xbox ecosystem, you don't have to pay. You don't have to lose the 30% cut that you get when you sell stuff on PlayStation. There you go. That's the better way of saying my very emotional reaction. Thank you, Silkenit. You articulated my words far better than I could have. All right, let's look at any other predictions that you want to say. Do you think we see South by Midnight or Clockwork?
I do think we see Clockwork. I'm very interested in that game. I very much want to play that game. South by Midnight, very interested to see what that is. It'd be good to get kind of like an update on that as well too. The thing that I'm predicting that I still want to like actually be a thing is Everwild. It's been,
my friend Logan told me that game is not a game.
It's not actually. but they want it to be, but I don't think it is. But
that's your motto this episode. It's not a game.
It's not a game. Love you all. It's not a game. The Everwild needs to. I feel like we need to bury the hatchet on what the heck Everwild is. Either it's a game and we can play it and it will be a thing that people have, or it's not, and we can drop that project and take it off lists, because Sea of Thieves doing really, really well, and the team that's working on Everwild has not had as much support as Sea of Thieves. And if we get to see it this year, I think we'll know that game is on the docket for this generation. But if it's not, I'm gonna have to say, like, it's been 5 years since they announced it. Maybe it's time to like kill it.
I bet you a lot of these games are dead. Like a lot of, well, maybe dead's not the right. Let me back that up. Let me walk that back. What I mean to say is, I think a lot of the stuff that we thought we were going to see, Perfect Dark, Everwild,
State of Decay 3,
Contraband, State of Decay 3 are not at all what they were envisioned. They're stuck in maybe not development hell, but like they're stuck in rebirth because Xbox changed its strategy full on. It was a year and a half or 2 years ago that the idea of putting Sea of Thieves on PlayStation was a thing. And when these games were announced, it was even before that, right? And then COVID and development timing and everything else that kind of happened, the philosophies just aren't there. So what those games might have needed to be then are not what they need to be now. And with the approach of what Satya and Amy Hood are kind of demanding from the Xbox team, it certainly feels like what these games deliver on return are no longer the same. And so I think that's what's changing a lot of them, for sure. Let's see here. What else I want to? We'll talk about Summer Game Fest hopes and dreams next week. I did want to point out that a lot of our live service games that kind of percolate through, Fortnite got its new season 2 days ago. Call of Duty Season 4 arrives really soon. That'll arrive for Modern Warfare 3, mobile, and Warzone. Diablo 4 just got its new season, very well received. Vessel of Hatred is later this year. Shattered Space is later this year. Multiverses makes its return very soon. And if you spent money in the old game, you get the battle pass in this one. That's going to be an Unreal Engine 5, which is neat, I guess. I'm curious to see how this game does because, I like Batman and Superman, but still not the game I want. Luke is having a good old time because
it's a game you deserve.
Yeah, maybe. Akuma arrived in Street Fighter 6, which is a long requested character and the end of the promises. That's a big deal for Street Fighter.
Yeah, it's big. It's surprising it took this long.
It is surprising it took this long. That's kind of why I included it. There's new DLC in my little pet game that I love, Gagabash. That's the 6th Godzilla DLC Kaiju, which there's kind of this rebirth of that genre, which for me is neat because the MonsterVerse has gotten so big. Now we're seeing a lot of this stuff kind of come back into, I won't say mainstream, but I will say more than the casual like Lukeism is this is making its relevance, which is kind of cool. And then IGN bought up and gobbled up a lot of places like Eurogamer and GamesIndustry.biz. And that is very concerning to me because I've not seen a trend in IGN that I like lately. And I do not mean an Xbox tax or Xbox buy. That's not what I mean. What I mean is AI writing articles and people regurgitating other people's work, calling it content, and kind of taking headline away from those that might deserve it. And so I worry about the direction of IGN because they're having to compete quite logically with content creators, and they will stoop to very low lows in order to get their content seen because that's how they make their living. And so that's kind of the worry for me as there's less written media that is spotlighted, seeing IGN gobble up more. It worries me. I mean, how long ago did Game Informer get shut down or the web version of it? You know what I mean? Like that's why I don't like the consolidation.
Yeah. We've seen tons and tons of consolidation in the industry across the board. This one actually kind of bugs me. Most of the time I'm usually not bothered because people will quit and then form their own stuff and then find other places and whatnot. The thing that bugs me is that there are a lot of outlets that typically have their own reviews and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And IGN I can't remember the name of the partner company or the parent company that owns them right now. But them buying like GameIndustry.biz and Eurogamer and Rock Paper Shotgun and VG 24/7 and Dicebreakers and having access now to Digital Foundry, it's not something that I really like because it feels like there are going to be voices that now have to fall under a corporate mandate across the board. And when you tend to have that kind of homogenization, you tend to get fewer opinions that can be expressed from different perspectives from an industry that prides itself on opinions. So I'm hoping that not much will come, but just games media and news in general has really struggled, and people have dabbled with paywalls. Guides tend to be the most driving factor when it comes to website advertisement revenue. There's just not much room for content creation, and when you have one company go and buy a whole bunch of other ones, that's going to lead to redundancies, which means more layoffs for people that don't deserve it because they didn't ask to be bought. And you run into the situation where some of these studios may just get consolidated into IGN. And yeah, you may have some of those personalities come, but IGN's not going to have 3 podcasts all from different companies for Xbox. They're going to have one, and it's going to have all the content feed into that one because they want to bolster that content. So it's concerning. I don't know what the, how much relevance this is going to have in the long term, but overall, I feel for the people that are going to get let go, that know that they're going to get let go, because it's unnecessary to have that many outlets with that many people doing the same job all the time.
Agreed. Well, Logan, I think that's a good place to stop, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. It was a good episode. We had a lot of good people in chat hanging out with us, which I really appreciate and enjoy, as always. Choosing to hang out with us on this fine Saturday. If you've not hit the like button, please do so. It helps us out tremendously, and so does sharing it on the old socials. Logan, let people know where they can find you and what content you got coming.
This week, Keelhauled Podcast, Sea of Thieves content out there for you. It's going to be the Gold Hoarder episodes this week. So we're going to be talking to my community members about how they feel about this season 11, with all the new updates to weapons and stuff like that. Outside of that, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or X or whatever the hell they're calling it these days, at CAPT_LOGUN over on Threads as well, or just in the Discord. I'm over in the Discord chatting with folks when I'm not completely busy with real life. And as a result, I'm probably going to be trying to get back into streaming more often, which is really tough when you and I are playing with like Joe and Kev, and we got our normal, like, not on camera chats. And that makes that really hard for me to want to stream, because I don't want anyone getting canceled or doxxed as a result of our conversations.
And that's a smart thing to do.
It's a smart thing to do. So that's where you can find me, is when I'm not playing with you guys. I'll probably be trying to stream games.
Fair enough. Bison, I did see your tweet, and I was dealing with school ending at the time, and I didn't look. I accepted it and didn't look. I just now looked. I will look again after the fact. So I apologize for not getting back to you. That's on me. I was just busy, and I'm sorry.
I do it to him all the time. So don't feel he
true.
gets it. He gets it too.
It's true. Guys, I will point you to a couple things happening on the XEP side. We just did that spoiler cast as the community episode from last week, which was kind of cool because our community made that. Logan's going to be heading up our community episode this week, which is exciting. And then he's going to take the reins when I'm in LA. So he'll be having XEP proper, and we'll try to do some kind of mixed content. But while I'm in LA for Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase, he'll be running XEP here. So there's a lot kind of just going on there that we're working on. I will point you to my Hellblade review. Please go look at it. I really am proud of it. I would love for more people to see it. And beyond that, guys, if you could just share XEP out, right? Like let people know where they can find and support us. That would be amazing because it's just something I'm very proud of. And I think we work hard on it. So, all right. That is going to be it from us. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone. Take care.